All right, what's going on, everybody?
What's
I'm
up,
joined
guys?
joined here with Brent. Billy will be here before we know it, and we really came in to talk about some guys over in the um, Brent's group, the Tool Podcast. We're talking about, hey, let's y'all need to do a hangout.
Yep, that's what they were saying. They were saying, look, y'all need to do a hangout and kind of differentiate some of these podcasts and let us know what's going on. And that's what we decided to do. Just pop on here real quick, just give you a little heads up for 20, 30 minutes and talk about it.
Yeah, and how to get on the podcast because some people just don't even know.
Exactly.
Um, there's a link every time a new podcast is put up, we put a link up in the Facebook groups. But it's definitely these things are we do the videos, or I do. You don't do so many of them, Brent, but
Hmm.
and people enjoy those. But the podcast is really totally different. I mean, just totally different because, and I'm sure everybody listens to them, so they know. A lot of guys are like, man, I want one for every day of the week at different subjects.
Exactly. And that's what I think. That's the final goal here is to do that. And I'm excited because we are doing the Tool Pros podcast, which is me and Billy Knopf, and we're gonna try to release that every Wednesday. It's gonna be like a 30 minute to an hour. We'll do reviews. We'll do discussions about it. We'll probably have some guests on. It'll be the whole 9 yards. And
Yeah.
and the thing about podcasting that's so unique from the video, Ralph, is what you're talking about. Is I can listen to a podcast from job to job in my truck. It's hard to kind of watch a video driving down the road, or you shouldn't be doing that. Let's just say that.
Oh yeah, the only kind of video you can watch is a vlog, really,
Exactly.
because you're
The
listening
vlogs.
to
Yep.
it.
Exactly.
Um, and it's I think so far Zach and I have had some pretty good guests on. Um,
Yeah.
and and I would make a suggestion to you and Billy that when you do these tool reviews, y'all do like hangouts and stuff, live streams, like Zach and I do.
No, you're absolutely right. I think that's the best thing we can do is do that uh, type of deal. Do the live streams every once in a while and do the giveaways. And I'm sure we'll pass some of these tools along to you to give away and all that good stuff. So it's going to work out great for everybody.
Oh yeah, because we get tools all the time. We'll pass them on to y'all.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good partnership.
Yeah, and then of course everybody's familiar with Brian Orr, and then we have the business podcast, and you can introduce him. He's not here, but you know him. You used to work for him, or used to
Yeah,
work with him.
yeah. His name's Tersh Blissett, and he's going to be doing a business style podcast for the Blue Collar Roots family there network, and it's going to be pretty cool. I think Tersh has a lot to offer, so it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. Um, I before we go on, Brent, the question was asked, and here's what I'm going to say to it. We're not going to be talking about John Israel. There's no future in it. It's very childish, and this is not going to be a soap opera. We didn't come here to talk about that, and we're not going to talk about it. John can do all the live Facebook posts he wants, but we're just not going to be involved in it.
No,
That's all.
and that's the last time we're mentioning it.
That's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to be a part of the Blue Collar Roots, which is the HVAC school, which is the HVAC shop talk, and then like you say, there's going to be Tool Pros now. Hey, there's Billy.
What's up, Billy?
What's going on?
Hey, man.
We were just
We-
sitting here talking about you.
Damn it, I missed it all.
Yep.
we were talking about the Blue Collar Roots network and how it's going to be fantastic. How we got several guys in there that are gonna there's going to be new podcasts, and so there's going to be almost a different podcast every day of the week with different themes, and so it's going to be fantastic. I think.
I think it's going to be great. I mean, I'm super excited about the whole thing. The it's funny because I turned a lot of the um, the guys that are at the new company I'm with onto listening to the podcast because none of them even realized anything about them. Um, so I got the owner and his son listening to HVAC school, and then the HVAC Shop Talk. I got them on that. So it should be interesting. It should be fun.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
mean,
That's what it's all about, having fun, man. I just really want to have fun with this whole deal, and I I love tools. I'm a tool junkie. I really do, man. So I think it's just going to be awesome, just trying to share my experiences and share the podcast with the rest of the guys.
Exactly. It's, I mean, tools are part of our job. So, why not?
yeah, Brent had a funny story. He called me and he said, "Man," he said, "I was at the supply house, and do you know this guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know him." And he said, "I started talking to him. What happened, Brent?"
It was funny. I was at the supply house and I was at the counter, and this guy came in and he started talking to me about my truck. I have a Ford Transit. He started talking to me about the gas mileage in it. We started going back and forth, and he says, "You're Brent." I said, "Yeah, that's me." I said, "Well, how exactly do you know who I am?" Because I'd never met this guy before in my life.
Right.
And he says, "I recognized your voice." I said, "From what?" He says, "From the Working Joe's podcast, which is now HVAC Shop Talk." He says, I recognized your voice from the podcast." I said, "Holy moly, that's pretty cool." That was just something really cool that happened. I didn't expect that at all.
That is very cool.
Yep.
So, if you guys don't know, how many of you guys that are watching actually listen to the podcast or don't know how to get on the podcast?
Yeah, that's a big thing. Is I think some of these guys they don't listen because they don't know how to download it or whatever, and it's very simple. And like I say, I don't listen to the radio riding down the road. I listen to podcasts.
No, me too. That's, I don't know how radio is by you guys, and if you've got satellite and everything else, but New York radio sucks. So I can't stand listening to it because it's the same 10 songs on every damn radio station.
Yep.
So, I'm podcast from, job to job all day long. And, I do let my family listen to the radio because, they don't want to hear about superheat and subcool. And so. But,
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So if you guys don't know how to watch and you have an Apple phone, one of you two have an Android, right?
I have Android.
Billy's got an Android.
All right. So Billy can tell you how to do it on Android, and Brent or I can tell you how to do it on Apple. Apple is really simple.
Let's see if I can show my phone here for a second.
Uh,
If you look, it's kind of a bad glare,
Yeah.
but if you look down here in the corner here, it's a purple app that looks like a cell tower kind of deal. Has like an eye in it, has kind of like a cell tower kind of feel to it. That's what it looks like to me, at least, like maybe an antenna. And
Yeah.
it's labeled podcast at the bottom. You go
Yeah.
on there, and you search for it, and you subscribe to the podcast, and it'll automatically download them. When there's new ones, it'll shoot you a notification, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, you just have to, when you get in that podcast app, you just have to, at the very bottom, it says search, the bottom right-hand corner, and you hit the search bar and just type in HVAC is all you have to do.
Yep.
As far as Android, I mean, Android, most people don't know because everybody, touts Stitcher and everything for downloading podcasts, but probably the most basic way to do it is to use the Google Play Music app. It comes pre-installed on any Android. So if you're listening to music, if you're creating radio stations through Google Play Music, at the top left portion of the screen, there's a little drop-down menu, and you can actually find the podcast right there. So you click on podcast, it'll just bring you to the podcasting. You can search for HVAC, just as if you were looking for, any music selection you were looking for, and they pop up right there. You can subscribe right from that front screen. You see the big icons of everything, and then you're good to go. It subscribes, and I think that it will automatically download anything new. It'll keep 3 episodes on the device you subscribe on, and then it'll get rid of the earliest to download the newest. And take it from there. That's the way I do it. That's the way I've been doing it. I didn't like the interface in Stitcher. Most likely, guess because when Working Joe's first started, it wouldn't find it for me through Stitcher.
Right.
You know, so I was able to get, HVAC school, but I wasn't able to get a lot of the other stuff. So I stopped using that fairly fast because I found everything through Google Play Music. So it was just easy that way. And from what I hear, Google's looking at doing just a dedicated podcast app, I guess, like
like Apple,
Apple.
And they should, because Apple Podcast app is very simple.
But podcasts are taking over, so it's it's getting to be huge, with the amounts of them. So, and I think Google realizes that just as much as Apple did.
Yeah.
So to keep it separated.
And there's a ton of information. I mean, Brian has some great guests on, and they will blow your socks off with some of the stuff they talk about.
Yeah, like he had one last week about commercial refrigeration. I'm not a refrigeration guy whatsoever. I really not. I'm not good at it. I'm not a refrigeration guy, but I learned a lot from that podcast. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. Hey, look, our other cohorts in the chat.
Yeah, there's Tersh. She finally made it.
Yep.
We were just talking about Tersh. She's going to have a podcast coming up on business, good savvy business practices and stuff. And there's not a better person in the world to do that. Tersh is an awesome guy, and he's a fantastic guy to do that, and he will lay some knowledge on you big time.
Yeah. So, but that's it. Go ahead.
I was going to ask Billy, have you ever had any involvement with the Podcast Addict app on Android?
I've never played with it. I did download it, and for whatever reason, I think there was a glitch. Because I've been running, I guess the newest version of Android on my phone, the Android Oreo.
Okay.
And something wasn't compatible with that because it kept automatically shutting itself down as soon as I clicked on anything. But I haven't tried it in a little while, so I
sounds like they needed to update. Sounds like they should have updated it on their end. Is what they're.
Yeah. That's what it was. It was definitely something on their end that because I'm sure it would have run fine with the older version of Android because it had been around for a while, but it was brand new. It was a development, in development stage when I was playing it. So it was something glitchy with it that way. But it never got back to it because for me it was just always easy through Google Play Music to do it that way.
Sure.
So.
Well, yeah, basically there's several different ways if you're on Android, if you're on iOS, the podcast app, it doesn't make it any simpler than that, guys.
Right.
So be sure me and Billy are shooting for next Wednesday as a release date on our first podcast, which would be the 13th.
Do you have a subject yet?
Well, the first podcast is going to be an introduction to who we are and why we're qualified to be the Tool Pros.
So, I got a Husky knife I'll send you to review for your very first one.
Yep, and then I think our second episode is going to be on combustion analyzers.
Yeah, because that's coming up here pretty soon.
It's coming up. It's getting chilly out. It's going to be start time to dust those combustion analyzers off, and that's what our second episode will be on.
Mm-hmm. It'd be great. And of course, Zach and I do our HVAC shop talk on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then Zach does the Tradement on Saturday,
which he may be moving at. I don't know. He was talking about possibly moving that one, so he may move that to a different day.
Hey, some of these guys are like, you guys need to have one every damn day. I bet if there was 2 or 3 a day, they would still listen.
Well, I've told you before, man. I'll be listening to them, and I'll be busy doing like today. I had to move a mini split, so today I just turned on the podcast and it went to playing. And the good thing about I don't know if the Android does this, but the good thing about the iOS app is once you get done with one, if you're subscribed to another, it'll just start playing another one that's not been played already. Yeah. So you can sit there and catch up to all of them within a couple hours. You can catch up with all of them, and every time it finishes and it's done, I'm bummed out.
You're like, oh man, that was it.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing about Zach. He always cuts it off right in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah.
keep them coming back. But we had our best day today as far as downloads, the best.
Cool, man.
So it was a great thing today.
That's fantastic, brother. Let me try. I gotta plug my tablet in here.
Champion mechanical. I would actually. I would go to a different manifold. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Just I don't have much good to say about it. Don't really have anything bad to say about it, but don't have anything really good to say about it either. It's not what I expected.
Yep, and that's some stuff you'll get out of the Tool Pros podcast. We're not going to bash any brands whatsoever, but we will give you our honest review, and we will give you what we think of the product. But don't expect to see any brand bashing, or anything of that nature. But there will be good, honest, lighthearted reviews, and then there may be stuff that Billy likes about one tool that I hate about the next tool, and there'll be a good debate about it. But that's why I thought it'd be good to have two guys discussing tools. It's not just one opinion. So we got two opinions on the same podcast.
Right. And that was my vision too. I mean, you can only do so much as to, stuff you like, and there needs to be that other side to it, like Brent, like you said, if you didn't like something about a tool, but it didn't really bother me, at least, those questions or concerns would come out, and everybody would have, the
pros and cons.
Right. Possibility of, taking that into consideration when they were to purchase, and especially, for the pros, taking those into consideration, and having, multiple people agree on something.
Right.
Would be good too.
Right. Because, everything has its cons and everything has its pros. And if everybody agrees on everything, then the guys that I'm just going to use the example of the Zoom lock. You knew that was coming.
I
knew it was coming. I don't have anything bad to say about the Zoom lock. I've used it. I was kind of in the very beginning when it first came out. I was like, man, there's no way we could ever use that in residential. And then Brent showed us otherwise. And I'm all for it. And it's not just because Sporlan. It's not just because my relationship with Sporlan either. Because if there was something wrong with it, I would say. Ness just asked a question about the Smart Tool. Are they any good? Yes, the Smart Tool is a great product, but they are really geared more towards refrigeration than they are air conditioning, because there's other devices out there that are doing more.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. So, the Sporlan Smart Tool, I believe it does multiple superheats, and that's something that the refrigeration guys really need. And that's something that I don't think any other Smart Tool or probes or anything like that do right now. I don't know if any other one does see multiple superheats. Even the iManifold doesn't do multiple superheats right now.
Right. The biggest thing I don't like about the CPS is they are not temperature compensated. So I had to constantly zero it out. Constantly. Worse than Testo.
Yeah, and that was your big issue with the Testo.
That was my big issue with Testo.
Now, Brent, like I know you've been playing and showing the videos when it came to the field piece stuff. How do you find those as far as, zeroing and everything?
They are temperature compensated.
Okay.
I haven't had to zero them once at all.
Okay.
I haven't tested the temperature compensation, and the only way I've thought to do that would be to get a short piece of pipe, put some refrigerant in it, and put it in my freezer, and have the gauge hooked up to it while it drops in temperature, and see what happens, and maybe see as it rises back up. That's something I've been thinking about doing, but they supposedly are temperature compensated. So
okay,
yeah. Somebody asked about the Zoom Lock giveaway. Yes, me and Zach are going to be doing the Zoom Lock giveaway. It won't be, because we've already got the Tom Jackson giveaway we're doing next Wednesday. And if you guys have not gone over to Jackson Systems Facebook page and entered that drawing, that one really is a good. He put a lot into that one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a great giveaway.
Yeah, it's really a great giveaway. So we're going to be doing that giveaway next Wednesday, and then the Zoom lock giveaway. Unfortunately, Zach and I are going to have to redo that one, so it's going to be 2 weeks from Wednesday, or from that Wednesday.
So are you just going to start over with that? Is that what?
Yeah, we're going to start over on it.
Okay. And I think me and Billy are going to make a rule. We're not going to mention the Zoom lock for about the first 10 episodes of the Tool Pros podcast, just to give it a chance to chill out.
Yeah, you don't even have to ask. You don't even have to ask Spoiling for one for you to review.
Nope, I got it.
You have it, but you've already been doing reviews on it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one tool I'd love to get my hands on, but it's not something that I see myself using, a whole bunch. Kind of like, like you, Ralph, and Zach. It's, the company that I'm with now I'm just, primarily service. I did do one install for them as an emergency thing, but I don't see myself using it a ton. Still would love to play with it because I do believe in it, but
right.
Now, Billy, you changed companies. You're with a new company, right? Than you have been before. Now, does this company that's your new one just do strictly AC or?
They do AC and some plumbing. They do heating, air conditioning. They've got a lot of the energy kinetics boilers, high efficiency oil boilers and whatnot. That they do service. So, that'll be something newer for me. Not that I haven't worked on boilers, but, that I think I've run into, 2 of them in my career.
Sure.
Before this. So it should be interesting.
Yeah. And that's, my company does plumbing also, and I just recently got my plumbing license. So, that's another thing about the Tool Pros is we're going to do more than just HVAC tools. I'm going to try to do plumbing tools. I'm going to try to do electrical tools, even though I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I want to try to do some electrical tools. I want to do power tools as far as drills and, all that good stuff. Battery powered stuff. We work into carpentry tools and stuff like that because it'll all come together, and we'll that's why I want to broaden the horizon here a little bit.
But it's part of everyday work. You're going to go from, we may be more strictly, service, and, there are a ton of installers out there that are part of the groups and, whatnot. So as far as, install, I mean, you're doing carpentry, you're doing electric, you're doing plumbing, you're doing everything. So why not, bring those tools, bring everything, to the forefront for everybody.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. And Hernandez wants to know if y'all going to have any left-handed screwdrivers.
I'm left-handed, so I have to have left-handed screwdriver. That's all that's in my tool bag.
That's right. That's right.
Brian Orr says Milwaukee and the Pap Whapper. Yes, Milwaukee's awesome. I would love to do whatever we can with Milwaukee. That would be great. The Pap Whapper, Brian Orr seems to love it.
Yeah.
The pipe wiper, he seems to really love it. I've always been on the fence about it. I'm still on the fence about it. But like I say, Brian loves it, and I'd like to talk to the guy who developed it. Of course, he's welcome to come on anytime, and we'll discuss it with him.
Hey Brent, that's a great question. I don't really know the answer to it because I don't have the rigid. Will it work on the Milwaukee?
Yes, a representative posted on HVAC Talk earlier today, actually, and I'll tell you exactly what he wrote here. The Milwaukee Zoomlock Rigid Jaws. No, here the Zoomlock Rigid Jaws will fit the Milwaukee M12 Pro Press, not the M18. So there's your answer, guys. The M12, not the M18.
I get mine from Home Depot, actually.
That's what
I want to know.
I get my stuff from Home Depot. My Milwaukee stuff.
They're different grade in the supply house than what you're getting at the supply house, but they're not the same. So.
Well, say now. Hold on. Say that again, Ralph.
The Milwaukee tool you get from Home Depot is not the same as you get from the supply house.
Now
And I don't know the difference.
I'm supposed to be a tool pro here. Now you need to teach the tool pro a little something about that, because I don't know that.
I'll get the information for you, and I'll get back to you.
Well, that's
I've
good.
heard that. I've heard that even from the Milwaukee rep. That at Supply.
Okay. Well, I'd be interested in hear the difference. That's the same thing as kind of like the Honeywell deal. The Honeywell says they're different.
Totally different.
But even when it comes down to plumbing fixtures, American Standard and Kohler and whatnot, a lot of their plumbing fixtures are very different.
Yes.
Look the same as if you'd get them in a supply. And I mean, my faucet, I think it cost me, $350 at a supply house. But, it's got porcelain seats. It's got everything, that I don't have to worry about, where I could get one that looked exactly the same.
Yep.
The numbers were almost exactly the same, except, a digit flipped around from Home Depot and it was, $90.
And the reason why, hey, even the Zep chemicals you buy at Home Depot are not the same. They are watered down. So there is a difference. And the reason why is because Home Depot requires such a small price point. I mean,
it's such a huge market.
Yeah, So the only thing that's different, like the Nest, the EcoBees, those thermostats are the same. But everything else, I mean, look at the sheet metal stuff. If you had to go to Home Depot, you need something for a job, you're right there. You forgot it at the supply house. Just go in and look at the sheet metal stuff. It's cheap.
Mm-hmm. And it's beneficial to these manufacturers to do that, because it's such a big market for Home Depot and stuff like that. So they know what they're doing with that, and so they'll make a specialty product for Home Depot, because I'm sure they buy so much from them.
Yeah. The price point is so low on it. So, like I said, we all know the Honeywell thermostat is not the same.
Yep, exactly. No, I've known that.
It's not as cheap as the Chinese off-gassing store that some people like to go to.
Oh, you talking about Harbor Freight?
Yeah. You walk in that store. If you want to know what China smells like, I think you just had to go to Harbor Freight.
That's John M's favorite store. He does.
He loves it, man. He loves it. I watched him. He went to Harbor Freight, and then he went to the In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, he does live videos with that stuff.
Yeah.
Am I? Are we using our new mics? HVAC. Brian asked if we were using our new mics. No, Brian, my mic hadn't got here yet. I got Amazon Prime. You figure that's guaranteed 2 days. Today's the second day. I hadn't made it here yet, but I looked in it, so it'll be here tomorrow. So it'll be here 3 days. Can I get like some kind of refund from Amazon Prime for
that? Yeah, mine's supposed to be here tomorrow too. So,
hey, y'all are gonna enjoy it. It does sound a whole lot better.
It sound like Barry Manilow.
Nah, not quite. So anyway, well, you guys got anything else?
That's it. I just want everybody to be aware that the Tool Pros podcast is coming out on. We're shooting for Wednesday the 13th. Sometimes iTunes can be a little funky, but it will be up next week, Wednesday the 13th. Guys, keep an eye out on your Facebook groups, all that good stuff. We'll make sure to post that. And if you don't know how to download a podcast, reach out and ask.
Yeah, reach out and ask. We forgot about Bill doing the building performance podcast.
Oh yeah,
his is going to be on Fridays, I believe.
Yeah, that's Bill Spawn, who owns True Tech Tools. He's going to be doing the building performance podcast. So he brings so much knowledge to the table. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. And then Brian, he has special rights. He just loads his anytime he wants to.
Exactly.
He doesn't have a certain day. I think what he wants to beat me and Zach, so he has to load an extra one in there.
Yeah, hit a couple, two or three a week.
Yeah.
So exactly. That's Brian's God complex. He's got to be, on top of everything.
Yeah. He's the joker of the crew. Not quite. But anyway, you guys got anything else?
That's it, guys. Just tune into the Tool Pros podcast next week.
Yep. You guys just keep it up, and if and everybody will have their own YouTube channel. Is that right? Are y'all gonna have y'all's on and do the podcast too, like Zach does?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that. That sounds like a good idea. Apparently, some guys want to watch it that way, so we'll do it.
Yeah, because some guys just are still, not sure about the podcast thing, and just want to watch it on YouTube or listen to it on YouTube, which is fine.
Yep, we'll try to get it on whatever platform guys want to listen to it. The podcast is the main deal, but if they want to be old school and listen to it some other way, that's fine. But
Well,
we'll
as far
do
as
what we need
comments, that
to
would
for
be
them.
the easiest.
Yeah.
Right. That's the easiest way for them to comment on things that they see or hear.
Yeah. Actually, go into somebody's YouTube channel and comment. That's the easiest way to get your message across.
Right.
I mean, it just is. What do I think about the York system that has a display on it? I've not even seen one. I've seen it on a picture on Facebook. I think it would be pretty cool to go take a class on it.
I mean, they seem to be built like tanks. I mean, I saw one at the local, the Abco show, and that thing looked like it was built like a tank. I mean, all the controls hinged out and everything was nice.
Yeah.
But there's some haters for Johnson Controls and stuff out there, man. There's a lot of York haters out there, dude.
Yeah,
I don't understand it. I haven't had a problem with it personally, but there's a lot of them out there, man.
But one thing I would say is don't trust that display. Always put your little gauges on it just to verify if you need to.
Could get you in trouble pretty quick. No, just do your non-invasive testing, Jim Bergman style.
Yep. So
it's all set up for the invasive testing as it is. So just confirm it with the non-invasive, and you should be good.
Yep.
All right, you guys. Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching. Just wanted to kind of do a live stream. If you listen to the podcast about the Bosch, it was pretty interesting. So anyway, you guys have a great one, and we will, I guess we'll be back in touch. Listen out for the podcast, and thanks for joining in.
Hey, thanks, guys. See y'all later.
See ya. Peace.
See ya.